Welcome dear in new session of Establishment Relate subject. If you are railway employee and aiming to pursue higher studies or technical training. In this video, we'll break down everything you need to know about study leave eligibility, conditions, salary, and bond rules simplified and explained clearly. Let's begin.
Conditions for grant of study leave. Purpose of study leave. Study leave may be granted to a railway servant to pursue a special course of study, higher studies or technical subject, either in India or abroad, provided it is directly and closely connected with the sphere of his/her duty. Public service requirement. The leave is subject to the exigencies of public service and must be considered in light of service needs. Study leave may also be granted for non-regular courses, for a course of training or a study tour that may not involve a regular academic/semi-academic curriculum, provided it is certified to be of definite advantage to the government. It relates to the duties of the railway servant. Studies on public administration. For studies related to the framework or background of public administration, subject to approval of the study tour by the competent authority, submission of a full report by the railway servant on return, detailing the work done during the study leave. Broadening knowledge. For studies not directly related to the servant's current duties but capable of broadening the railway servant's mind, improving abilities as a civil servant, equipping the servant to collaborate effectively with those in other branches of public service. Study leave shall not be granted unless the following conditions are fulfilled. Certification of public interest. The competent authority must certify that the proposed course of study training will be of definite advantage from the point of view of public interest. Restriction to non-academic literary subjects. Study leave should be granted only for studies other than purely academic or literary subjects. Exceptions. Medical officers may be granted study leave for postgraduate studies in medical sciences in India if certified by the head of the medical department as valuable for improving efficiency. For postgraduate studies abroad, the Director General of Railway Health Services must certify its usefulness in enhancing efficiency. Specialist technical personnel may be granted study leave case by case if the head of department or railway ministry certifies that the study is directly related to the sphere of duty, it helps keep pace with modern developments, it improves technical standards and competence, it substantially benefits the railways. Approval for foreign exchange for studies abroad. If study leave is outside India, the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance must agree to the release of foreign exchange. The department must ensure that the railway servant meets the minimum educational criteria as per general orders for releasing foreign exchange for higher studies abroad. Additional condition for grant of study leave abroad, point-wise. Restriction on study leave abroad. Study leave outside India shall not be granted for pursuing studies in subjects for which adequate facilities exist in India or which are covered under any schemes administered by the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, or the Ministry of Education or other concerned ministries. Eligibility conditions for grant of study leave to a railway servant, point-wise. Minimum service requirement. The railway servant must have satisfactorily completed probation and rendered at least 5 years of regular continuous service, including the probation period. Exception. For railway medical service officers, the minimum required service is 2 years. Age of superannuation condition. Study leave shall not be granted to a railway servant who is due to retire within 3 years from the date of return after expiry of study leave. Exception. For railway medical service officers, granted 36 months study leave. The limit is 8 years before superannuation. Execution of bond. The railway servant must execute a bond as per Rule 4.4, committing to serve the government for 3 years after return from study leave. Exception for railway health service officers granted 36 months study leave. The required service is 8 years post-return. Note: railway servants having the option to retire will not be permitted to do so unless they complete the mandatory service period after returning from study leave. Additional restrictions on grant of study leave. Frequency of grant. Study leave shall not be granted frequently to a railway servant if it detaches him excessively from his regular work or causes cadre management issues due to prolonged or repeated absence. Deputation restrictions. Study leave shall not be granted to a railway servant while on deputation to another department or who has come on deputation from another department. Maximum amount of study leave. General rule for all railway servants. A. Maximum at a time. Study leave shall be granted for not more than 12 months at any one time. B. Maximum during entire service. The total period of study leave shall not exceed 24 months during the entire service. This includes any other similar kind of leave granted for study or training under any other rules. Special provision for railway medical service officers. Study leave may be granted up to 36 months for acquiring postgraduate qualifications. Condition: the officer must execute a bond under Rule 4 to serve the railways for a minimum period of 8 years after completing the study course. Accounting of study leave and its combination with other kinds of leave. Point-wise, non-debitable leave. Study leave is not debited against the leave account of the railway servant. Combination with other leave. Study leave may be combined with other kinds of leave. However, the total period of absence, study leave plus other kinds of leave except extraordinary leave, shall not exceed 28 months in general, 36 months for PhD courses or postgraduate PG degree in medicine. Explanation: the above limits of 28-36 months include vacation periods, commencing course during other leave. A railway servant who combines study leave with another kind of leave may undertake or start the course of study during the other kind of leave, e.g. earned leave, half-pay leave. Note: the period of such other leave coinciding with the study course shall not be counted as study leave. Leave salary during study leave. Study leave availed outside India. The railway servant shall be paid leave salary equal to the pay last drawn while on duty immediately before proceeding on study leave, along with dearness allowance, DA, house rent allowance, HRA. Study leave availed in India. A. The railway servant shall draw leave salary equal to the last pay drawn before proceeding on leave, plus DA and HRA as admissible under board's rules. B. Condition for full leave salary. Payment of full leave salary is subject to furnishing a certificate by the railway servant stating that he/she is not receiving any scholarship, stipend, or remuneration from part-time employment. Adjustment of external income. If the railway servant receives any scholarship, stipend, or part-time employment remuneration during study leave, it shall be adjusted against the leave salary. However, the leave salary will not be reduced below the amount admissible during half-pay leave. Resignation or retirement after study leave. Refund obligation on quitting service. A railway servant must refund certain amounts if he/she resigns, retires, or quits service without returning to duty after study leave, or within 3 years of return to duty, 8 years for railway medical service officers who availed 36 months of study leave. The servant shall refund actual amount of leave salary, cost of fees, travel other expenses incurred by the railways, actual amount of cost incurred by other agencies, e.g., foreign governments, foundations, trusts, plus interest at government loan rates from the date of demand acceptance of resignation. Exceptions: refund not required. This rule does not apply to a railway servant permitted to retire on medical grounds after return from study leave, b. a railway servant deputed to a statutory autonomous body and later permanently absorbed therein with government approval in public interest,